Okay, so Kevin, you want to give us a brief description of your thumb tip?
Yeah, the new product
Yes.
is the Tunnel Writer. Okay, and that's the image of the poster there. And it's a new release for 2022.
All right.
It is currently available for pre-order via my website. I believe also Black Cat Magic here in the UK. He purchased quite a bulk of these and has been also selling them through his website as well.
Okay.
Again, these are all on pre-order at the moment and should be available hopefully with this next week or two for the product ready to be obviously packaged like this and to be shipped out worldwide. So everyone that has already made a purchase will be receiving those hopefully ready to be shipped in the next 2 weeks or so.
All right.
Um, so yeah, I believe obviously you had a couple of questions we wanted to clear up.
Yes.
Um, I
Yes.
know
So,
one of those is obviously the history and background of where obviously the origins came from.
okay.
Um, I know earlier on when we spoke privately, you mentioned how you yourself use a lot of thumb writers and are very familiar with. For many years, I've used everything from boon writers, thumbnail writers, under thumbnail writers, clip writers. Um, Around, I believe, about 20 years ago, I purchased a thumb tip
Right.
pencil lead thumb writer.
Mhm.
And if my memory is correct on this, I believe I bought this from Mark Mason himself, and that was through JB Magic, Blackpool in the UK.
Okay.
Uh, this is that exact one. And as you can see, it is now very discolored and ever so slightly warped, but I've used that for over 20 years and it is great. But I found that there was a lot with all different makes, models, and styles of thumb writers,
Right.
many of which have been covered in the 13 Steps of Mentalism is a great resource
Mhm.
by Tom Grinder. He covers a lot of different varieties. I believe in the 30 steps, I think it was the first chapter of books within. Um, and he covers a lot of different styles and models and what would suit different types of performers.
Mhm.
Like that, some of my early day issues that I was having, I know it's wrong to admit this as a magician, but I actually bite my nails. So to use an under thumbnail writer is nigh on impossible.
Right.
So then I obviously like band writers, things like what Ocelin put out.
Oh, so you
Uh,
can you can use one of these.
of course, yeah, the Boon Writers. Yeah, so again, I looked at Boon Writers. I looked at the clip-on type writers. I looked
Right.
at
Right.
all the different varieties, and I started to find that with each and every single type of thumb writer available, um, they all had like pros. Some were better than others, but they all had similar kind of cons that go with the pros.
Mhm.
Um, for argument's sake, though you've just shown a very small like boon writer, um, I found that I either misplaced them, I couldn't load them correctly, I was fishing around in my pockets or my
Mhm.
cases would get lost in amongst the props, and they just became too cumbersome to try and work with if I was working regularly with them. The clips, again, great to work with. But again, unless you've got like some sort of holder for them,
Right.
you have a problem of being able to get them on and off
Hmm.
smoothly. So with all that said and done and out of the way, I found for my own personal use, the thumb tip style variety of writer was the easiest to get on and off, and obviously the most comfortable to work with. Um, that might be different for other performers and people that work with these, but for my own personal preference, I always found that those to be the best.
Hmm.
Whether working from a case or my pockets or jackets or things like that, I always found it, it was so much easier to go straight into my pocket. I knew which end was the open end
Right.
straight away with which way around it was going to work.
Oh, absolutely.
So, but again, with this, I mean, with the design of them, it, you know, back then, like say 20 years ago, there was no such thing as like ink writers and things like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, over the years, they have been redeveloped, redesigned. Things like the Sharpie writers now, the ink writers, the Everlast ring, which I'll get to in a few moments. So I've played around with each and every single one of these, but again, I always found that they always ran out, and you know, they always, like even on these, you mantling to try and get a needle in to take the pencil lead out to then put them back in. So for argument's sake, if you're working like a corporate gig and there's, several hundred people there, you can't be messing around. So you end up finding that you need several of these just to make sure that it's not going to run out on you part way through your show. So again, things like the Sharpie writers, I believe it's Super Sharpie, and some of the other types of boon writers, I found that the adhesives that are used with those to obviously adhere them to your skin, whether it be glue dot or putty or something like that, if you just got them loose like an everyday carry style in your jacket pocket or your trouser pocket, the natural fluff and dust that builds up, the adhesive didn't work. So then you got to fumble around with it to make it sticky again, just to be able to do the whole thing. Or the other side of it is, again, if you're working close-up table hopping or something like that, if you're working a big stage and under heavy lighting, the natural oils in your skin, the actual natural sweat, you have a nightmare with it trying to work, and there's nothing worse than getting partway through writing and it falling off. So again, for the basic stability and reassurance that isn't going to happen, that's why I went with the tip style of the actual device itself, to make it a lot easier. The second part of this, the other kind of aspect that I wanted to look at, overall, I've been kind of playing around with this idea for around about 10 to 12 years now, trying to work out what is the best way to go about this. And it wasn't until probably around, I'd say about 5-6 years ago, here in the UK, there was a branch of shops. I don't know whether there's an alternative elsewhere in the world, but the branch was called the Gadget Shop, right? And they sold like all kinds of different, like cool little gizmos, everything from the Rubik's cubes to novelty items and things like that. It was not a magic shop. It was not an outlet of that sort. But I saw an item for sale readily available, obviously at cost. They were quite expensive. Basically, apparently like a pen or pencil that was designed by NASA that could write in anti-gravity and write on the water and all this kind of stuff.
Right, upside down.
Yeah, it didn't use ink, it didn't use lead or anything like that. It was a metal alloy, right? And it could write on like porcelain. It seemed like a miracle type invention. And like I said, they weren't cheap, these items. But at the time when I first saw these in the shop, I thought maybe the answer that I'm looking for lay somewhere within this product. And it wasn't until probably about 3, maybe 4 years ago. I obviously technology come on quite a lot, and it enabled. There was another kind of thing that I found that made me and enabled me to basically bring to the market what I've actually currently got. And again, for the past 2-3 years, the actual evolution, if you would, came about. Now, I've actually managed to find one of the earliest designs I did and created as almost like a prototype, if you would, for a thumb writer. And one of the other things that I wanted to do, because I myself do a lot of stage work, and a lot of my friends like to use thumb writers on stage. But I've noticed one thing that was always a major flaw, And it's kind of like the unspoken type thing, or non-acknowledged. A lot of obviously stage props tend to be oversized.
Mm-hmm.
So, as a mentalist or a mind reader, you have like a huge A1 drawing board, so you can write down your reveal or your prediction or something, so the entire audience can see what this is.
Yes.
If you cards, instead of them being standard size, they're oversized again, so the whole audience can see. So why all of a sudden would a person doing thumb writing be pulling out like a business card size kind of playing card, a little business card to be able to do the thumb writing, and then say, "Oh, there you go, I did get it right." Even the front row of your audience have barely seen the card, let alone what was written on it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that was another kind of problem that I wanted to address. Again, within the design, I came up with an oversized thumb tip, so it's slightly longer
Mm-hmm.
uh, than the old one. So it is longer
Wow.
than the original.
Wow.
Okay, I don't know how well that's picking up on there. So it is a lot longer. And again, you can see how well the detailing is there on that. It has thumb tip, coloured thumbnail, everything. This was my first prototype.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and what I'd actually done, I don't know how well this camera will pick this up, but there is actually a rollerball ink pen.
Oh,
So it
okay.
was writing ink originally. And I don't know if you can see that in there. But basically, it's like a little tiny
Ink.
ink, right?
Yeah.
And like that was the first prototype, what I was working on. Um, and obviously, that came again with its own issues, its own problems. Obviously, it's ink. It's going to, on certain card, it's going to build up dust, and then suddenly it won't work. And then obviously, you got to keep scribbling with it till it does work. And then, of course, it will inevitably run out.
Mm-hmm.
So that was another secondary problem I wanted to address. So that I put together around about 4 years ago, something like that. Then, like I said, in came the new technology, and this is the Eternal Writer.
Okay. Wow.
Is the new version. This is the new product, and a lot of thought has actually gone into the design of it.
Okay.
Firstly, the color, the shape, the size, the length,
Mm-hmm.
also the angle as to which I don't know how well this is picking up on the camera there. The actual angle of
Mm-hmm.
the writing part isn't like on some of the earlier ones, which are at a right angle. There you go.
Right.
These both are more at a right angle. Say like your undernail writers, boon writers, they either poke straight out or straight up,
Right.
which I've always found checking out some of like the forums and messages and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people tend to have a lot of great difficulty because it's an unnatural writing position to begin with. So with the Eternal Writer, again, like all other writers, it goes to the first knuckle.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you've still got full freedom of movement. Okay, but by being now oversized, now that is just a normal size business card, and you can see I can reach right over to the furthest end of that business card to be able to now have full coverage of a
Right.
business card. Right? But the better thing, I've got just some card here, which
Mm-hmm.
I've cut. These are around A6 size, so that is now postcard size. Okay, and again, you have full and complete control, and again, able to write a much larger prediction on there.
Okay.
Again, for
Wow.
doing obviously your larger stages. So again, much bigger, and you've got that full reach.
Mm-hmm. That's yeah.
Okay.
That's far. Yeah.
Straight away, that's the difference between this and the traditional. You've got already a much larger, so it's absolutely ideal for any stage performing, thumb writing performer. The other thing, with the angle of the actual point now,
Mm-hmm.
it gives a much more natural position of the actual writing. Because if you was to use a pen or pencil, you are not writing at a right angle. You always write because of the natural position. It's at a 45-degree angle.
Okay.
So again, that is mimicked with the obviously the
Mm-hmm.
writing as well. Um,
That's
the
great.
um, the base of the actual gimmick,
Mm-hmm.
uh, akin to the earlier ones, these earlier ones were always cut flat,
Yes.
um, which for some people that was fine. For others, it could also hinder. It could catch on clothing and things like that. It also caught on the cards. And the writing was never as smooth as what it could have been. These ones I've had designed so it's actually tapered and a lot thinner at the base, which again now fits a lot better to the base of the joint of the thumb.
Okay.
So when you are bending your thumb, the gimmick isn't going to be pushed up and off your thumb.
Mm-hmm.
It will grip a lot better and it will fit a lot snugger. Also, it will offer a much smoother for maneuverability when obviously writing and everything else. So that
Oh,
was something else that was obviously added in with this. The material used on this is actually an acrylic polymer. So it isn't plastic, it isn't rubber. It's an acrylic polymer. So almost similar to that that's used in prosthetics. Like your amputees who have like prosthetic limbs and things like that, this is that material that they use. So
mm.
it is quite tough, it is quite rugged. I have had several people contacting me asking, because obviously they've seen some of the imagery that's already been posted online, is it possible to cut these down? Hopefully with this explanation now, explaining why it's the size and length it is,
Mm-hmm.
yes, you can cut these, but that is down to the user preference. I personally have designed it for this size and the shape for the reasons as I've described. So you have a greater reach. So ideally, you should not need to cut them down, but yes, it is possible to do so if the individual needs to. But I personally, I wouldn't advise it. I think it is the key there. Again, the writing point, I've had a few people questioning today and over the past few days. The actual point is not made from lead or ink. You will never need to refill this.
Wow.
It's from a metal alloy. Okay. Now, someone else commented and emailed me a couple of days ago with comments on referencing the Everlast thumb writer that came out a few years ago, which I
Mm-hmm.
am familiar with. That was almost like a wedding band, like a silver-looking band. That again you could wear as like an everyday carry, and
Mm-hmm.
it's always good to go. I am more than familiar with it, and I've again looked online and followed all the forums and chat groups and spoke to many other workers that own and have used these,
Mm-hmm.
and found almost every one of them say yes, it's a great idea, but when it comes to actually using it, it is very difficult to actually make it look like writing
Agreed.
because you ring at the base of your thumb.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you was actually going to say that you got one on, right?
I have one
Um,
actually, but no.
yeah, so again, to try and write with the base of the thumb is a very difficult kind of action to do and try and do without people noticing. Because obviously, one of the key points with thumb writing, is obviously you're aware, is basically there should only be you yourself as the performer that knows you have something on the end of your thumb.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of when you are doing this with the thumb writing, it's done either on an off beat or people are not aware that you are writing when you actually are.
Correct.
Um, So to be kind of fumbling around and making strange movements, whether it's in your pocket or to the side, it becomes tricky. You can't make it look as natural as it should be. So again, I am aware of the that particular device, but obviously, as you can see, this is totally different. It can be used as an everyday carry by, again, keeping this in your pocket. It's very easy to load in. I mean, I can do that now just by going bang, I'm now good to go. I found the point straight away. And again, know that that is never going to run out. So if it's in my pocket, my case, I can just grab that, slip it on like any other thumb tip. And because of obviously the writing nib, I know with using one of my other fingers, it's the right way around. So yeah, it's I've been trialing and error in this for quite some time. I've used it and carried them with me, you know, in live performances for over a year now. And yeah, I've not once had it fail or fall to pieces or need to address any issues with it. Most of all, I've not been busted with it once, which is always another positive.
Oh,
In comparison to, say, does it look like ink? Does it look like pencil? It has been designed to look like a standard HB2 pencil, which
okay.
are your bog standard pencils readily available from any station store
Like those
or
little yellow pencils.
bar. That's the exact one, yeah. So yeah, it is the standard size, standard pencil lead. Let's give you an idea. So we'll write eternal on the with the pencil, and just very quickly.
Yep. Just for a quick comparison. Yep.
Okay. Just for the comparison, you can see just how close they are on color, width, and everything else. And of course, that is just very quickly, so you can see the comparison
Yeah.
of, you know, the light, the shade. Because again, one is pencil lead, the other is a metal alloy. But they have been designed to replicate almost identically.
Wow.
And even under the light, you still get that natural shimmer
Mm-hmm.
from both. Other ones which I have seen that are similar on the market, you don't get that kind of dark grey shimmer. They look too dark, they look black or something like that. So the colour doesn't quite match. So yeah, there was a lot of trial and error on that. In speaking with the guys who actually manufactured these nibs for me, it was vigorously tested. They've told me that these will be suitable for writing over 5,000 words, which converts down to, I believe, 16,000 meters, which in conversion rate, I think that's just under 10 miles, and that is continuous drawn line writing. So I don't think I know anybody that is able to write for that kind of length or time, especially when thumb writing, because majority of people, they stick to a single word or 2 or 3 digit number, but never for like kind of 16,000 meters of writing. That's one hell of a size piece of paper that you're writing on.
Right.
So yeah, definitely good enough. It'll probably outlast the user is basically what I'm referring to there. But yeah, so yeah, that is the device itself. Within the actual product, for anyone who does purchase it, I have included obviously a sheet of paper instructions. That was the other question I was being asked quite a lot. Does it come with a DVD, a video download, or you know, is it just the device? I am including a double-sided sheet of instructions. The first side is all info about the device for people who have obviously never used thumb writers before. What is the best type of card to use and orientations for writing. There's also references in that description from things like the 13 steps and Corinda's great advice on and when using. I'm also including the explanations for 3 of my favorite go-to routines using a thumb writer, and especially this particular model. And it's these 3 routines, the ones which I've worked a lot, and especially recently. The first one I spoke to my manager about, and he fell in love with it the first second I told him. And I actually explained to him the first time the routine came to fruition, and it actually got me repeat bookings for 3.5 years in one venue.
Oh my God.
And believe it or not, it was actually an impromptu routine that I came up with as a spur of a moment. And I titled it Starbuck. So it's a great little routine where basically, let's say you're out with friends or you're just visiting a coffee shop, and basically you're able to, using one of their own coffee cups and a borrowed pen or pencil from, say, the barista, you're able to take and make the markings on the side of the cardboard coffee cup and actually predict what a person is going to choose making drink selections, whether it be tea, coffee, whether they want syrups, milks, and all the different varieties of that are available on the menu. And obviously, when you hand them back the cup after you've made apparently your markings, it's all predicted well ahead of time before the reveal. So that routine's in there.
Nice.
There's also some more kind of semi-traditional kind of methods with kind of my own twist on them. There's a envelope kind of routine in which now this routine I titled it was actually a funny title because I've been working the routine for a while and I couldn't think of an actual title to give it. So I actually titled it For Those Who Cannot Nail Write. Basically, for those people who want to be able to use it, want to buy the product, but still have that phobia, or because I know I was like this myself 20 years ago when I first bought my very first thumb writer. And when you're kind of first starting out and getting used to writing with your thumb rather than your entire hand. So this is a great routine to basically taking those first steps in being able to get comfortable with doing what you need to be able to do. Basically, once you get the understanding of the routine, you'll be able to work it to your own kind of style. The basic routine given is you have a spectator genuinely imagine any like a pack of playing cards or name a playing card quite freely. Tell you what, Andrew, name any playing card you like.
Jack of spades.
Jack of spades, and you're quite happy that you wanted the Jack of spades. We haven't set anything up beforehand or anything like that.
Completely random.
Okay, completely random. Now, I showed you this obviously a couple of moments ago. I picked it up from my side table and I showed you that I had an envelope here anyway. In the envelope, I have one of my business cards, as you can see there. Okay. And earlier this afternoon, on the back of here, I put you would the Jack of spades. So there you go. So that's one of the routines that we're able to do, and it's super quick, super simple, and very easy to set up. And again, that's another very easy routine that takes any preparation at all, and you could just go straight into it like I just did there. So again, and you're hitting that playing card 100% every single time. There is another routine on there for obviously performers and workers who are more comfortable with thumb writing techniques like yourself. which is basically you ask you show a card, you make your notation, you place everything down, and you have them just think of whatever their dream holiday would be. You take the card, they turn it around, and of course, it's it's obviously already pre-predicted.
Right.
Again, it's a very old routine. It's based on something again very widely published, things like the 13 Steps and various other publications with that style of thumb writing, with names, dates, places. But I wanted to kind of fill all of the empty gaps, from numbers to words and things like that. So yeah, I put like three of the best routines which I'm familiar with, and included those within obviously this product as well. So to make it more complete for, let's say, a total novice that has never purchased a thumb writer, I
Right.
wanted to make it fully complete for everyone as well.
Wow. I mean, wow, you're very generous for giving those away, seriously. Because I know those effects are really good. They're really good. And the thumb tip
They,
far.
they, they work for me, and I know they've worked for others that have used similar routines as well. So,
Okay.
um,
So
but
I have a couple of questions about the thumb tip. Um, so you talked about doing it like on parlor, setting on stage. Can you do this close up?
of course you can, yeah. It would work exactly the same as any other thumb writer.
Right.
So for argument's sake, as you saw before, you could take out your business card or have a stack of them, have them examined. You would take, say, a writing implement, a pencil in this case, and again, you could, show everything, um, make your mark, have a person hold on to the pencil, um, have someone call out a name, a number, yeah,
Oh man.
number just for clarification. So there we go. Someone's called out the number 11, and of course you turn it around, and we have.
Yep.
Again, you could do that in whatever way that you want. I just did that one very quickly. Obviously, you can do a lot more with it, but that's showing that yes, you can use business cards as well. Uh, these, as you can see, are slightly laminated. These are around about, I think, 380 GSM, so you get that little bit of stability to them. The reverse side is kind of matte stock, but it still has a little bit of a gloss to it, but it shows that it still does right on them. Obviously, different people have different types of business card and different card qualities and things like that.
Yes.
I have on a lot of the forums and people that have contacted me, I have trialed this with all different types of paper and cardboard. The basically, if the easiest way to work this out yourself at home is if you get yourself a standard 2B pencil, and if that will write on your card, then so will this.
Okay. Okay.
I have not so far. I have not yet found a surface that they won't mimic almost identically. The pencil does seem to struggle on like gloss card or photo cards, like because of the gloss.
Yeah.
And as retrospective, you still get the indentation, but it just doesn't leave that grey mark. And the Eternal Writer is similar to that.
Okay.
But I've got it to work on foam core board. I've got it to work on packing cardboard, all variety of from A4 standard printing paper right the way through to quite thick matte cardstock. Manila envelopes, it works on just as easily, just as nicely. So obviously, like your envelopes, if you wanted to do the writing on the envelope and then have something written on the card inside as well, it will also write on these on, and it's still visible. So again, if you are concerned about that, and you want to test to see whether it would work on obviously your own business cards, my easiest suggestion to make is get yourself a little pencil and just see if a pencil will write on it. And if it does, the likelihood is the Eternal Writer will also work on it as well.
Amazing. Amazing. So the thumb tip itself,
Yep.
The ones that I have, I have the Vernier ones and some others. The
Okay.
one tip I have here, this one's plastic, like
Yeah.
plastic, and this one's a
Mhm.
flexible. This one's a flexible.
Yeah.
I like the flexible ones because I just like them better.
Yeah. The flexibility of this is
Oh, yeah.
slight, but it is a lot more robust than these. I mean, that I can flatten, and it feels like a very aged sponge ball to me. It's almost like rubber.
Right.
It has that little bit of flexibility.
Okay.
It, it's a, it's quite sturdy at the same time.
Very sure. And it
Uh,
looks very robust. I mean, it looks like it's not going to break or
yeah,
anything. So it is flexible. Good. Good.
yeah, it is quite robust and it is very well made. Like I said, it is not plastic; it is a polymer acrylic, so it does have a little bit of a flexibility, I think is the word for it. The
So,
other thing with it that I was going to mention, with it being a polymer acrylic
mhm,
compared to rubber or plastic, is it's almost matte in lighting. Compared to, say, the earlier one, which I just showed you there, that has a bit of a shine when lighting hits it, as did the earlier thumb tip design.
mhm,
Um, the colors are obviously a lot different. I mean, this earlier prototype, I went with this idea with these again because they're a lot harder, but they
mhm,
have. I thought maybe the detail would be great because the detail. I don't know how well the camera's picking that up there, but it even has an actual thumbprint and the grains. It looks like I've actually pulled my own thumb off. The detail on that is fantastic, but I find with the newer design, the new polymer acrylic, because of what it is, it's not flexible like rubber, but it
mhm.
almost has that kind of like almost matte grip feel and texture that you get from rubber.
Okay.
So it doesn't reflect the light as which was one of the positives with using rubber tips.
Mhm.
Um, but it's also got the ruggedness of the plastic, where the plastic reflect light and things like that. This does not. Okay. So
Okay.
again, if you're on stage and you've got heavy spotlights on you, something like that, it should not reflect the light at all.
Good. 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 So, let's talk about the maybe potential options. Are there
Okay.
like different thumb sizes, like for genders or for different?
Right. At the moment, because obviously these have had to be custom built and being pre-order, at the moment I've only got one standard size.
Hmm.
I am in talks about getting a smaller size because I've had a good number of women magicians and younger entertainers who have smaller hand sizes, which is fine.
Mhm.
So I am in talks with manufacturers to get this design made in a slightly smaller size. These, for those who are familiar with obviously thumb tip sizes, this is deemed as a size large, which the internal diameter is 23 millimeters. Okay.
Okay.
Now, the other need to stress and point out with this is you are not wearing it like you would a standard thumb tip. With a standard thumb tip, you would put this right down to the base of your thumb. This you are wearing only to the first joint.
Right.
Okay. Um, Now, like I said, I got these as made in size large. Okay. Now, the I'm hoping to have the smaller sizes ready within possibly the next month, maybe month and a half. But at the moment, they are only available in this standard size.
Okay.
Uh, but hopefully, in the not too near future, or very near future, I will be able to offer a smaller size, which would be the size medium, which is a
Mhm.
size down from this. And I believe that is around about 20, maybe 21 internal millimeter as diameter. Um, I mean, I've offered to my own partner, female. She tried this on, and she could fit. There was a little bit of give, but she
Mhm.
still was able to use it as good as myself. And she's never used a thumb writer. She's never a clue what one is. I just asked, can I just look at your hand a moment? And I put it on the end of her thumb. And I said, here, hold that. Can you hold that card? And can you move it around? And then explain what it was and how to use it. And she had no worries with it whatsoever, even though it was slightly loose on her thumb. She had
Okay.
no worries whatsoever.
Okay.
Uh, in regards to obviously larger sizes, I have been contacted by again several members of the magic community over the past couple of days, 2 3 days, stating how they have humongous hands, and would those be available? At the moment, the manufacturer of these have got back to me and said it would be very difficult for them to be able to make them bigger. Um, but again, it is something that I am looking into. But at the moment, larger sizes are unavailable, sadly.
Gotcha. Yeah, sadly. The thumb tip that you're holding there, the one that you displayed, is that's the one that you've been using for a year now?
Cool.
That's the very
Yeah,
one. It's
that's
still very sharp.
that. Oh yeah, still
See,
very good.
wow. Yeah. So,
It is a metal alloy. It is not lead, so it should never run down. It will never run out. It will always be ready.
okay.
Uh, the other thing as well that people have asked me is, what is this attached to? Is it just this that's glued on? Will it break if they knock it or something like that? And the
Sure.
simple answer is no. It is. I'll show you the inside. I don't know again whether the camera will pick that up. But on
Yes.
the inside of there, right down at the very base,
Yep.
that is made from solid brass, and it is actually screw threaded into the actual unit itself.
Wow.
So it is a brass threaded ring, which makes it that tape exceptionally robust. So it isn't just like a dab of super glue and I've popped it on, which you know yourself, it's going to ping off. No, it is that is on the that is not moving.
Wow.
Um, but yeah,
So when you
so
perform with this thumb tip,
yeah.
like on stage, do you put it in your pocket, your jacket pocket?
Uh, I've worked with various different ways. I mean, at the moment, I'm not wearing obviously a jacket. I've had them in my trouser pockets. I've had them in my inside pockets. I've even had them in my side table in my case.
Mhm.
Um,
So they go through a little bit of abuse and they're still just as good, right?
right in your pocket, along with say a stack of cards,
Mhm.
and I could have that in my pocket, either inner, outer, trouser pocket. It makes no difference. It's just like carrying any other thumb tip.
Right.
Um, and then a stack of cards would go with those. And then, say, my pencil in a different pocket, whether it be a shirt pocket or something like that, or just literally borrow one from someone. So normally, as I go into my pockets to find the cards, that's
Mhm.
when I would put the thumb and the cards and place those down on the table, let people examine those, and I'm already in position ready. I would then borrow a pencil or take one out my shirt pocket, or from wherever it's kept, and I would literally just get into position ready to work, and you're already there. The other thing as well, when you are working, for those that are worried about anyone that may see this, you must remember that it's like working with a normal thumb tip or any other device. Firstly, no one's expecting you to have anything on the end of your thumb. There's only you that would be aware of it. Also, especially if you're working close up or in like a bar or corporate environment where there's a potential for people to be, you're working in the round essentially and close up. You're also covered by not only your hand, but also the card as well itself.
Mhm.
Um, Also, the camouflaging of this, people aren't out to look for something. They don't expect you to have something taped to stuck on the end of your thumb. And especially if you're freely handling other items like pens, pencils, things like that.
Mhm.
It, People don't expect you to be holding other things. I mean, even I'm wearing that and it's still difficult to spot.
Right.
Um, And again, now I've put the pencil down and I'm able to write on the back of said card whatever I need to write on that. So let's see. There we go. So, and I would be, thinking on something, and I wouldn't be holding it up in front of my face. I'd be normally down by my side and move my hands around, causing like some sort of delayed reaction or misdirection. Oh, did you think of the same as what she did? Or, you
Hmm.
know, that's how you do it. You do it, you create an offbeat moment, and then obviously, bang, you thought of a circle, or so did you. Well, why would that be? And at this point, I would now be picking up the remaining cards that weren't used, or the pen, the pencil, whatever it is. As these go back into my pocket, you just leave the thumb behind.
Wow.
It's just the same as using a normal thumb tip, but this one enables you to secretly write. But yeah,
Yeah, these are really great. I'm really pretty inspired by this. So people can get these from you directly.
yeah, that's Kevin Cunliffe, .storenvy, .com.
Okay.
Another little idea. I know we obviously discussed that you yourself work with thumb writers.
Mhm.
This is an idea I saw you some years back, and I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I haven't included this on the instructions, but I'm going to share this with you. And obviously, for anyone else who works with thumb writers, and as an alternative to using business cards or postcards, especially if you're in, say, like a bar
Mhm.
or a restaurant or certain hotels, like higher end hotels, they tend to give away the
Oh,
paper books. The inside cover of these are absolutely perfect for thumb writing.
nice.
And I've been doing this for years. I'll be honest, I've been doing it that long. I cannot remember the name of the person or even where I first saw this. Um, but they are so great to the point where I now even carry one of these in my wallet as an everyday carry. This in my adjacent pocket. So, for argument's sake, if I'm asked to do something, I don't have a business card or anything. I can just literally borrow one of these matchbooks from behind the bar or from the restaurant or wherever I am. Or, like I say, if I carry one in my case, you can light a candle and use the candle as though you are doing like a crystal gazing type thing. You're looking into the flame, having the person imagine their image appearing in the candle flame. And the cool thing is with this, all of the misdirection now is on that candle,
Hmm.
right? Not on your hand. The matches, you've just used those to light a candle. As you are doing that, you're doing your thumb writing. Now, if you do it with a lit candle, the cooler thing is you can almost do almost like a impromptu flash paper style effect by bringing the matchbook over the candle flame because it will ignite all the other matches,
Hmm.
causing a burst of flame. And then, of course, you've got your now kind of ghost message, if you would, written on the inside of the matchbook. So, like I said, that I I cannot credit myself for that. Maybe I can. I don't know. It's been that long since I've been doing it. I can't remember ever seeing it published anywhere or even who
I'm not
or
sure. It's
where
probably in
where
13 steps.
developed from. I have researched other similar ideas and routines. The
Mhm.
closest I came to was a routine called the Bell, Book and Candle, but that was not a thumb writer routine. That was something totally different. So whether it was because I was working on that routine at the time and also playing around with these, maybe that's where I don't know. Maybe I amalgamated ideas up. I honestly can't remember. But like I said, with my gratis, I share that with you now. A little tip: these things are great. So yeah, um, absolutely ideal and perfect for using with all thumb writing. And again, you could have these custom printed as well, so they make a great little giveaway as well. I know there's hundreds of companies out there that manufacture those types of things. Obviously, hotels have them made. So again, it's that great little giveaway promotional item as well, and a great memory as well, which is what we all strive to do and leave that memorable moment with people.
Always helps leave a little bit of promotion, you know. So,
That's it. That's it.
I'm a huge fan of the thumb tip. I actually believe that it's the most powerful tool in mentalism even today. And you've got one hell of a contribution, so that's cool. I'm looking forward to getting one. Actually, I'm going to order one soon here. Uh, so well done, sir, and thank you for doing the video. And
Okay, thank you very much.
so we'll see you again soon.
Hopefully, yeah. All right.